Okay, this should be, I think, my last update for David's preliminary hearing from today, July 21st. So I just want to go on. First of all, this is a new courtroom sketch, and this is from artist Bill Robles. And I'm going to show you another one that he did with everybody kind of sitting at his table. Okay, there's the other one. I'll put it up again later. But what I'm going to go into is, again, just an update that we got from yet again, great resource is Lauren Conlin, who's been reporting from the courthouse today, and some information that she broke down of what was given in the second half of the day. So first, here's her information where you can go follow her on X, where she's been posting all of these updates. So please go follow her because she has been just a great resource today on everything. So here's everything that she went into. She said that I can't help but look over at Celeste's father from time to time. It's so heartbreaking. They said on April 16th, 2026, Detective Byers, who was on the stand a lot today, described Burke's arrest, and this is new information. Noted tattoos observed during booking, including Celeste in red ink on his ring finger. She put, I don't think law enforcement had previously confirmed this, and of course the tattoo on his right index finger. And it was shown where he was arrested, which was right behind Chateau Marmont in the Hollywood Hills. And as far as I'm concerned, and everything that I can think of, this is also the first time I believe we're hearing that he's had the name Celeste in red ink on his ring finger. Now, I am sure a lot of people are going to go try to sleuth and see if there's any sight of that. And in all this time, nobody has noticed anything thus far. So that is new information. Then she describes that based on lead detective Joshua Byers' testimony, these are the items that investigators say were purchased and delivered to David's Doheny Drive home in chronological order. So one could speculate that there may have been a change in plans regarding how the body would be disposed of, allegedly. April 24th, 2025, a shovel was purchased from Home Depot through Postmates. Byers testified that this was one of 3 purchases investigators identified as significant. On May 1st, 2025, 2 chainsaws were purchased through Amazon using the account associated with Travion Davis. This is a new alias that we're hearing that David was using to get things mailed to him. They were a red and black 16-inch chainsaw, a pink and black 6-inch handheld chainsaw, and Byers testified that both chainsaws were later recovered from Burke's garage during the September 2025 search. Now, on May 3rd, 2025, an inflatable pool was purchased through Amazon by Trayvon Davis and delivered to the Doheny address. I'm unsure if the names spelled here, if he spelled them differently in the evidence, just because I'm noticing they're spelled differently here. On May 4th, 2025, a Makita chainsaw, and here's a photo of this in the garage, was ordered from Home Depot, which was identified through Uber and Postmates records. A Lippmann mop system bucket spin mop was purchased from Lowe's, and that was also identified through Uber and Postmates records. On May 5th, 2025, a cadaver body bag labeled City Morgue was purchased through Amazon by Travion Davis and delivered to the Doheny address. May 5th, also had delivered a heavy-duty laundry bag that was purchased through Amazon by yet again Travion Davis and delivered to the same address. On July 7th, 2025, a burn cage, which was delivered under the name Victoria Mendez, which we've heard recently as an alias. And on July 12th, 2025, a fireproof mat, a burn mat, was purchased through Amazon using the Travion D email account. Lauren goes on to report about the cross-examination of Detective Byers by Blair Burke, so David's lawyer, and says during cross-examination, defense attorney Blair Burke zeroed in on how investigators handled certain pieces of evidence, questioning whether some items were properly preserved or thoroughly tested. Burke first focused on the black cadaver bag in which Celeste's remains were found, asking why the bag itself wasn't kept as evidence. Byers testified that after consulting with a supervisor and a criminalist, investigators decided the advanced decomp and bodily fluids made it impractical to preserve the entire bag. Instead, detectives removed and kept only certain parts of it, including the zipper and handles, for forensic testing. Byers acknowledged that the rest of the bag was not fingerprinted, swabbed, or otherwise tested. Burke then questioned Byers about the, quote, burn cage found inside of Burke's home. Byers testified that he saw the unopened box near piano on the second floor and that it was photographed during the search. However, he acknowledged the box was neither tested for biological evidence nor collected as evidence during the September 17, 2025 search. The defense also pressed Byers about 3 chainsaws recovered from Burke's home, 2 in the garage and 1 on the second floor. Byers testified that all 3 were tested for blood and each came back negative. When Burke asked whether investigators conducted DNA testing or compared the saws to the cut marks on the victim's remains, Byers said he did not recall any DNA testing and testified that investigators did not pursue additional forensic testing after no blood was found on the tools. Defense attorney Blair Burke also challenged the investigators' claim that a light blue iPhone, an iPhone 15 Pro Max, that was recovered from Burke's home belonged to him. During direct examination, Byers had testified the phone belonged to Burke based on information recovered from the device, including selfies, personal items. On cross-examination, however, Burke pointed to a search warrant affidavit related to Celeste Rivas Hernandez's iCloud account and email addresses, including abigailblue977 at icloud.com, and questioned whether investigators had previously linked the light blue phone to Celeste instead. When Burke asked Byers about the warrant, he initially said that he did not recall the specific language he used until he reviewed the document. After reading it, Byers testified the affidavit referred to the email account belonging to Celeste, not ownership of the phone itself. The exchange became a little heated, with ADA Beth Silverman objecting that Burke was being argumentative. Burke responded that she believed the people would eventually attribute the phone and its contents to Burke. Judge Almeida then instructed counsel to move on, and Lauren noted that she thinks this is where the alleged CSAM might be. Now, one of the last witnesses they had on the stand for the day was that the prosecutors called up former Mogul Vision finance director Benjamin Greger, who had a lawyer, Evan Jenis, present, who testified about David's finances and the rise of his musical career. Greger, who previously handled the day-to-day financial management for Burke's businesses, told the court that the singer earned an estimated $10 million to $11 million in gross income between 2023 and 2025, including a $600,000 signing payment from Interscope Records and roughly $2.4 million during the first year after signing with the label. Greger also testified that David also operated multiple business entities, including a publishing company and merchandise business that received multi-million-dollar advances. Beth Silverman appeared to introduce the testimony as part of the effort to establish the high financial stakes surrounding David's career before Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death. Greger further testified that after Celeste's remains were discovered in David's Tesla, communications with David's management team, including Josh Marshall, manager Robert Morgenroth, and David's mother, Colleen Burke, sometimes moved to encrypted messaging apps such as Signal and WhatsApp. Greger said that using the encrypted platforms was not his decision and testified that it was requested by others. Greger also claimed he still works with David's mother, Colleen, and is on a $7,500 monthly retainer in hopes of finding a new entertainment lawyer for David. The statement seemed curious as David's incarcerated in jail and facing these homicide charges. And this comes up in a video that I just previously had posted that was recorded by LA Mag as well again, and Lauren Conlon, where the Celeste Rivas family attorney came out and spoke to people and media that was outside and brought up this whole relationship and about David's mother looking to still get an entertainment lawyer for him and talking, with his career and his music. The lawyer also goes on to talk about the fact that he is actually a wrongful death lawyer and is there on behalf of the family, and they're considering that type of suit. And we're about to go into this next part of the witness testimony, but he was talking about this financial part of how the family, or how David was, moving some money around and some assets that would, take it away, that if this lawsuit does move forward, if they go after that for any money, that he's moved things away, and this whole movement just of money moving around. So that's what we're going to get into next. It says that Beth Silverman questioned Gregor about David's finances after his arrest, and Gregor testified that Burke had a trust account with Morgan Stanley valued at roughly $2 million, and said that he discussed helping David's mother, Colleen Burke, move money that could potentially be used for bail. He also testified that one of Burke's homes was intended to be used as collateral for a bond, while another was not. And as we know, this case, due to the special circumstances charged, wound up being a no bond, no bail case, so that wound up never happening. Beth Silverman then questioned Gregor about previous grand jury testimony regarding whether he advised Colleen Burke to transfer ownership of David's homes into her name, which we saw documentation on this earlier in the year about these homes being moved into Colleen's name. Gregor testified that he suggested the transfer because one of the properties was a family home. When prosecutors asked whether he had previously said the move was intended to protect the properties from potential civil claims by Celeste's family, Gregor said he did not recall making that statement or preparing any transfer documents. He did acknowledge providing Colleen Burke with the name of someone who could assist with transferring the titles. On cross-examination, the defense attorney, Marilyn Bednarski, so from David's team, first moved focus away from David's finances and towards how his business was managed. Through Gregor, Bednarski established that David entered the music industry with little experience after first gaining popularity as a gamer. Gregor testified that David's day-to-day affairs were primarily handled by his manager, Robert Morgenroth, who was employed through Mogulvision, while David's mother, Colleen Burke, was Gregor's main point of contact for financial matters. Gregor acknowledged that he had little communication with David himself regarding bills, expenses, or other routine financial decisions, and communicated with Colleen instead. Court wound up wrapping up and adjourning for the day around 4 p.m. and is expected to begin tomorrow, starting promptly at 9:30 a.m. So that's going to wrap it up for me as well today on the coverage coming out of everything for the day one of the state of California versus David Burke preliminary hearing. Please let me know your thoughts down below on everything that came out. We did hear a lot of information regarding all of the data, well, not all of it, but some of the data points collected from the Amazon orders, Home Depot, Lowe's, and this fact that he does have Celeste kind of tattooed on his ring finger is brand new information that I have not heard before at all. I don't know if anyone else has heard it before. I think it's first we're hearing about it. And as well as how much influence David's mother has when it comes to the financial aspect of his music and his career. Remember, what happens in the dark will always come to the light. I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and please remember to take a break from all of this news coverage regarding this topic. A lot of it is heavy, a lot of it was gruesome, and a lot of it is very emotional. We're talking about a child here. So please remember to take care of yourselves and your mental health throughout this process, and I will loop back in with you all tomorrow morning and let you know if I am able to get in the courtroom tomorrow at the courthouse. I will see you all, and have a great evening.